All right, this is Instagram. I'm just using Instagram as an opportunity to come live with you guys, and there's always a lag, between when I connect and when people actually join the program. And people are coming in now. People are coming in their numbers. Yes, very excited about today's discussion. Welcome, guys, from all around the world. This is your one and only Waka Waka Doctor. Always bring you the best gist when it comes to moving abroad. Today is going to be an amazing discussion. We're going to be talking about opportunities that exist far, 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 far. It's Australia time, and I'm going to be giving everyone an opportunity to ask questions because, just as always, I'm bringing people who live in Australia, people who have moved to Australia using different opportunities out there, and they'll be sharing value today. We want to quash all those stories that you hear about Australia. We want to quash all the information that you've been hearing about Australia. We want to tell you the truth about how you can get to Australia and to show you that it doesn't have to be the Canada. It doesn't have to be the UK. Very soon, Australia is going to become a massive immigration hotspot that everyone has to tap into. And this is the time. This is the time for you to listen. This is the time for you to jot. This is the time for you to write down, because we're going to be sharing it with you hot, 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 hot. Okay? Australia, 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 Australia. What is in Australia? Why Australia? What are the opportunities that exist in Australia? Are there jobs in Australia? Are there scholarships in Australia? How can we get work visas in Australia from all around the world? And like always, I am not the one who's going to be sharing the story. I don't live in Australia. I'm going to invite people who have moved from different parts of the world to Australia to come talk to you, to come share their experience and tell you what Australia is. But from what I've heard, Australia is the truth. Forget Canada. Forget all these places. Australia, cha 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 cha. Australia is the truth. Okay? Australia is the truth. Let me bring them up so that we get this party started straight away.
Okay, so my name is Aaron. I am a student here in Australia. I've been in Australia since 2019. I'm at the finishing stages of my PhD here in Australia. But yeah, the name is Aaron Philip, and I live in Brisbane, Australia. So I'll make that very brief so I don't take
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Aaron. Here's my second guest. I love her energy, and she's here all the way from Australia. Mama, let us see your full face now. Let us see your fine full face. Why? All right. All right. Talk to us quickly. Introduce yourself. Tell us your name, who you are, where you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jane Kenneth, reporting from Western Australia. All right. So, how do I even start? All right. So we're talking about Australia. Very exciting topic.
Very exciting topic. I have a list of questions to ask you guys, and I'm going to tease it out one after the other. I'm waiting for our third guest to join in. But while we wait for her to join in, let's quash this myth. You go on social media, and you see on Instablog, and you see on, Tunde Ednot, and you see on different people, they have videos of big pythons and big snakes crawling out of toilets and crawling on trees, and people are saying, oh, wow, and for people who are not in Australia, it's a very, very horrifying sight to see big snakes and scorpions and different types of animals we have not seen. When you ask people, why are you not thinking about Australia, you're going to see, even in the comment section, you're going to see people saying, oh, I don't want snakes to kill me. I don't want to get swallowed by snakes. I don't want to be swallowed by an animal that doesn't have a name. You have been in Australia for almost half a decade, Aaron, and Jane, you've been in Australia for many, many years now. How many times have you seen big?
Maybe let Aaron answer first, then I will say something.
Okay. Yes, I mean, just few weeks, last week or so, I tweeted about it as well. I put it on X, a picture of a snake coming out of a toilet. But I've been in Australia since 2019, not as long as Jane, right? Is that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Jane. Yeah.
Yes, not as long as Jane. But since I've been here, I live in Brisbane, that is Queensland, um, which is Australia's second largest state. But I haven't seen any snake or scorpion or thing around my house or where
Or
I live. I mean,
spider.
yes, yeah, I mean, once in a while you might see those ones, maybe, but they're the ones that are not
But not
harmful. Not not the one you see, not the anaconda kind of pictures we see in the movies or online or all of that. I mean, I've seen kangaroos are here. I think there are more kangaroos than people in Australia. But I haven't, I mean, they're around because they're around the golf courses, but those are not harmful animals, you know. So when you drive by, you see them just on the side of um, the houses because the houses are around where they live as well. But the snakes, the scorpions, all of that, I mean, there are areas, of course, where you see them, but personally, I haven't seen anyone around my house. I haven't seen anyone in my house. I haven't seen any snake. In fact, all the snakes I've seen in this country since I came are the snakes people share on social media. And I've been here since 2019. I've not seen anyone. So all the ones I've seen is when I go on, you know, Twitter or Instagram, like, oh, okay. So there are actually snakes here. I didn't know too. So people online are educating me about the snakes that are here because I don't see them. So all of the fears, I mean, if you're really scared about snakes and all of the dangerous animals, they are there. Of course, there are lots of animals like anywhere. If you look at the statistics, people that die from snake bites here are not even as much, you know. Of course, the animals are there, but some of them are not even harmful. So if you're scared, you're worried that, oh, I can't come to Australia because of snakes or because of these animals. I mean, where you are now, there are no animals. Technically, I mean, there are animals in my village. There are animals. In fact, I saw more snakes back home in my state, Nasarawa, where I was living in my town.
Than you have ever seen in Australia.
Than I've ever seen. I mean, true story. Since I've come to this country, I have not seen any snake around me.
That's 4 years. 4 years you've lived in Australia and never seen a snake. Jane, what do you have to say about that?
Waka doctor, you know what I'm supposed to say. Sometimes I feel like punching someone. Why are you saying what you don't know? Why are you saying? And so the thing is this. Okay, let's just be real. Okay, I've been in Australia since 2015, January 2015. Okay, and I have never had any encounter with any snake. Okay, and I don't live alone. I have a husband. I have 4 kids, and none of them. Okay. Then the thing is this, you know, even in Nigeria, if you go inside the bush and live, you will see animals. Okay. So white people or Igbo people, some of them like to go to and live in the farm. Okay. So when they live in the farm and they see snake and they take pictures, it's Australia. Okay. And another thing is that what you see online, because there is a stereotype about Australia and creepy creatures. Okay. Even if you see a snake in Nigeria, all you need to do is to record it, like not showing yourself, record it, use an app and put a white man's voice to it. TikTok. So it doesn't really matter. I can be here and say I'm in Nigeria. It's technology. So anyone can record that thing. You see that big one Tunde Ednot showed the other day. I looked at it, I was laughing. I'm like, you know. So Dr. Waka, what I'm saying is that, you know, sometimes I think it's actually a strategy that maybe the Oyibo people are using to scare Black people away from Australia. I'm beginning to even think that, because things I hear about Australia are never in existence. Like the things I hear, I'm like, so about this snake and creepy creature, there was a day I drove my car, I made a video, I said to my followers that I'm walking around my street looking for a snake. Let's go and find a snake. And
you didn't find any. You didn't find any. I mean, these are some of the issues that people express as to why they don't want to move to Australia, and that's why I needed to start with this by saying, let us quash this story once and for all, and just put that aside. So you can't say you want to move to Australia, and your reason for not wanting to move is because of big spiders, big snakes, and big animals, because they only exist when you go into the bush. Okay, so that's squashed. Now, Aaron, you moved to Australia 4 years ago for a different reason. Mama, you've been in Australia for 8 years for a different reason. So I'm going to ask you, Aaron, how did you move to Australia? I read your story on Instagram, I think was 3 days ago. Was very, very, very touching story. I think you should share with people, because again, when people hear Australia, they kind of always feel that you need money. You need all the big money to come to Australia. You went to Australia for free. You didn't spend one kobo to move to Australia. You didn't spend one money. One kobo.
You see?
And you know, when I tell people that you can travel abroad without money, they abuse me, and I'm used to it.
Doctor, is just because that Aaron came out to testify.
Yeah.
A lot of them are in my inbox telling me about the scholarship they have gotten. Some of them have gotten 50%, 30%, but they don't come out.
They don't come out.
Just because Aaron has come out to say it, that's why we know about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's
scholarship is floating. It's floating.
It's floating.
And I make videos, and the next thing I will hear is that, is Nigeria included? I'm like, what the heck? I just said, it's for everyone.
It will be a pleasure, and this is why we're having this conversation. So let's hear from Aaron. Aaron, tell us your story and how you moved to Australia.
Okay, so I moved to Australia in 2019. For the story, of course, you're talking about, I've been an orphan for many years now. Of course, that's no news, because I mean, lots of people are orphans. So that's not I'm not saying that out of pity, but just kind of trying to share my story. So of course, I lost my mom at 15, my dad at 20, and so of course I got my first scholarship. I was in National State University many years ago studying microbiology, and then I figured, oh, okay, I got a scholarship from Total, the company there, and I wanted to, they're giving us $150,000 and $150,000 every session, and that was, my parents my dad had just died, my mom died when I was in SS2 then, and so that money was really helpful to me. And from then on, I started, honestly, I came back from Abuja after collecting my award letter, and I started looking at, I just Googled international scholarships. I went to a cyber cafe then looking at scholarship, whether Total, EMP offer international scholarships and all of that. So that's when I started, thinking about scholarship, because I knew that if I wanted to go on to a master's and potentially a PhD, then, I mean, I've got to need someone to fund it. But then, I kept working, kept volunteering, and then until 2016, then I got my first master's scholarship. I went to the UK, did a master's degree, came back. Of course, I was fully funded by the Commonwealth Scholarship, came back home, did a bit of work. I've always worked in the development sector around HIV issues. And then I worked a while. I was working in an organization but I figured, I needed to advance more of my studies. And so again, because it had to be scholarship, where am I going to get the money to come to Australia? It's, as people say, it's far. Fees here are really expensive. So if nobody's going to pay for me, then I can't even afford it. Again, looked at scholarships, and I got a scholarship here in 2019. Came here with my wife. I've got my 2 kids here. My daughters were born here, and yeah, it's been that. So for me, as somebody who has tasted some pain, I mean, I know a lot of people have tasted more pain than I have, but my story is, I figured scholarships are the only way for me to afford my studies, and if nobody's going to pay, then I don't know how I'm going to fund it. And of course, I have a phrase, if you follow me on X, formerly Twitter, my phrase is scholarship sweet dad, because I mean, it's so sweet. Yeah.
Mama, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you, Mama, but let me just stay with Aaron a bit on this scholarship matter. So you have won scholarships, and you are a testimony, because we've told people that it's possible to move abroad for free. You just need to apply for these scholarships. Do you want to share with people? I'm not going to ask you about, we're not going to talk about the benefits of living in Australia yet. We're going to come to that, because the benefits of living in Australia, they are massive. I mean, I have considered it for many months now, and I'm tilting towards, coming to you. So people want to apply for scholarships in Australia. They want to come to Australia. They want to get admission in Australia. Can you talk to us about how to get it, how to get the scholarships? What are the steps people need to take?
Okay, so first off, if you're thinking of coming to study, whatever, regardless of your field, I think the first thing, there's a system the Australian university run that I'm not too fine with to some extent, because some people have exploited the system, and that's the agent system. That was very strange to me when I wanted to apply here, because all my life I've applied for scholarships, I've gotten scholarships. And when I wanted to apply to Australia, they say, okay, you've got to use an agent. So first off, just know that most Australian universities will ask you to use an agent, regardless of your field, regardless of your expertise. Some of them, they have a very firm rule. So wherever you come from, you have to use the accredited agent, some agent that got on their university. So first off is to look out for the course you want to study in the different states you want to study, or different parts of Australia you want to study. You can start off with a simple Google search, schools that offer public health. For instance, I'm in the public health space. That's a first step to start with. And then you see a particular university, maybe you see, for instance, Queensland University, and say, oh, University of Queensland, University of Technology, or you see University of Queensland, and you figure, okay, I want to study this particular course in this university. You need to go check to see if the university will allow you to apply yourself, or if they will mandate you to use agent. My university mandated me to use agent many years ago. Some of my friends use the universities allow them to apply themselves. If you need to use agent to apply yourself, it's a matter of checking to see what scholarships they offer. So most universities, they advertise their scholarships on their pages, of course. And so you go through that, you check. So some of the scholarships that you can see, of course, you've got the Australia Awards, which is, the very popular and the big one. But of course, with that one,
Australia Award Scholarship. That's it, eh?
Yeah, just Australia Awards. Yeah.
Okay, Australia Awards. Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
Yes, so yeah, it's given by the federal government.
Okay.
So but with that, you are mandated to return back for 2 years. When you finish, if you decide to stay, then you have to repay the money. So you have to repay the government the money they've invested in you. I know there are some people who have done that. That's the condition anyways, but there's a strong emphasis on you returning back. It's like the Commonwealth Scholarship that I studied on in the UK. So that's kind of like what you need to do. It's very important that before you apply for admission, you look out for the scholarships that are there. Because some people, first of all, apply for admission and they come back and say, oh, I just got an admission. Are there any bodies that I can apply to give me scholarship? Don't do that first off. Look out for this, because look out for the scholarships first, because some universities, they've got this process where when you're applying for admission, you might tick a box and just say, okay, I want to be considered for this scholarship. I want to be considered for this scholarship. I want to be considered for this scholarship. That's what happened in mine. I just ticked a box, and then I got the admission. I mean, I'm doing my course, mine is a PhD. And when I got the admission, a few weeks later, the offer for the scholarship came. So that's what you need to consider. Or if you're using an agent, let the agent know. Unfortunately, some of these agents don't have information, are interested in getting your money, and so they've misled a lot of people. If you are using agent, I strongly also encourage you to speak to people. I mean, conversations such as you speak to people, go online. There are people who share information. I mean, Jane is here, lots of people. I do this, Waka Waka Doctor dragged me to Instagram. I rarely use Instagram. We're very big on host lots of spaces, Waka Waka Doctor on X. And so speak to people, have this conversation, let them know. Sometimes these agents do not have this information. I remember my agent did not even know my university had a scholarship in 2019. They say, this university don't give scholarship. I'm like, what do you mean? I just saw it on the website. I just saw it. I had to copy the link and send to my agent to say, see, this is a scholarship I'm applying for. Before they're like, okay, no problem. So please, even if you're using an agent, speak to people. Yeah, let's just get a taste of what is there, and that's why these conversations are good. So look out for the scholarship, look out for your course before you start. Look at the processes, always on the university website. I've mentioned the Australian Awards. There's also a very popular one known as the Research Training Program, RTP.
RTP, Research Training Program.
Yeah. research training program. So that's mostly for research programs that is administered mostly. I mean, the money still comes from the government in some way, but it's administered by the different Australian universities. So universities decide to fund. So it's more of like the government gives money and tell universities, hey guys, fund research, and they decide to fund any field. So if you're in the field, and this is not a case of, oh, you're only in the STEM field or science, mathematics, and all of that, different field. My friend is doing a PhD in the advertising and marketing space. So the universities decide to fund what they want to fund. Most times, those scholarships depend on how the universities want to administer it. They might give you, I've got people who've got full tuition, living expenses, they've got health insurance for themselves, for their families, if they've got families. Some people are even giving $3,000 relocation allowance, to cover for them to come back. So it depends on how the university wants to fund it, but that's a scholarship to look out for. Research Training Program, RTP. If you want to do that, just know that that's a research program. But again, just to highlight that people get scared when they say research program, don't get scared about it. It's like studying at the end of the day and you write a project at it, like we did in undergraduate days. So it's just you coming to do a degree and at the end you write a project, but it's more research intensive, which is most times 2 years. Sometimes you have 1.5, but mostly 2 years. So that's another scholarship to look out for if you're thinking of Australia. There are also university administered scholarships. So the university, it might be academic, they might have some money from all of their work, and then they will have specific scholarships. So for instance, in my university, I benefited from the scholarship known as the Queensland University of Technology Postgraduate Research Award. So it's my university name, and I have Postgraduate Research Awards. So many universities have that kind of scholarship. So you have, for instance, just to say, you might have University of Queensland, University of Melbourne Postgraduate Research Awards. So sometimes you have scholarship coined in that way. So those are university administered scholarships. Sometimes they get some money from the government. Sometimes it's internally generated funds from the university. They invest back into research. That's another scholarship to look out for, regardless of the field you want to come study. But if you want to do, for instance, if you are thinking aside the Australian awards, if you're really thinking Australia, I encourage you to think of more of the research degrees, because there are lots of funding in whatever field you are thinking of. I mean, Australia is really big on agriculture. Agriculture is a huge space here. So there's lots of funding there. Of course, there's public health funding. There's a lot, but any field, regardless of any field you're thinking of, there is funding in that field because it's research. It's an important. They're really interested in what you're bringing and what research you're going to conduct to support, the Australian system. And of course, you don't have to do research because they're funding in Australia. You have to do research here. My research was funded here, but my research was purely in Nigeria. My study was in Nigeria. My participants were back in Nigeria. So my study had more benefits for Nigeria, but I was still funded. So that doesn't matter. So there are other universities, there are other scholarships administered by professors, for instance. So I wish there were resources here, but then I've got lots of those resources where I've shared. For instance, in my school, if you don't even have a topic that you've got in mind, maybe a topic is hard for you to coin. Oh, this research is so hard. My school, I put up like 700 topics, where you can go look out for the topics and just email the academics and say, oh, I'm interested in this topic. And sometimes there's already funding. Recently in Nigerian reached out to me. I posted it on my ex profile, and of course she got funding. Now she's just talking about visas and all of that. And that's lots of people. So look out for those kind of scholarships as well. Sometimes it has to do with academics, especially academics. They've got grants and they're recruiting masters or PhD students. Sometimes there are also scholarships that are administered by industry-related scholarships. So, for instance, there are big research organizations, agricultural organizations, health organizations. Sometimes even hospitals. They've got so much money. They need people to come do research. They might partner with the university and say, "We need a scholarship to, for this." So if you're thinking
from what you've shared now, I've gotten more than 3 scholarships already. You've talked about the RTP research training program. You've spoken about the Australian awards. Then you've also mentioned that each university, they also have their own scholarship. So for instance, you talked about the Queensland University of Technology
postgraduate research
awards. So they have their own. So every university has their own scholarship as well.
Yeah,
that's correct. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. One more question before I come to Mama Jane that I want to ask you. Do you need IELTS to get these scholarships?
So it depends. Again, some schools waive the IELTS, some schools don't. Some schools are very firm on you getting IELTS. For instance, my university, I didn't have to use IELTS in 2019, and the only reason that was because I had done a master's degree in the UK. So that was my leverage. That was the advantage I had. There are lots of people who wanted to apply to my universities in the current times, and they're like, you need to provide IELTS or some English test. Some other universities, and unfortunately, those people asked for waivers they didn't get in my universities. There are lots of Nigerians who have gotten, I think I have a Nigerian who, I can't remember the school, and I think Deakin, sometimes some other people in what other university, can't remember the names now, but they're Nigerian.
I applied for a PhD in Deakin, so you might see me soon.
Yeah, they are checking a lot of people. I got someone that just came in last 2 weeks from in Deakin. Yes.
So you just need a letter from your university back home to say, regardless of where you're studying, Nigeria is my home country, or whatever. I know there are lots of people on this live, but whatever, just a letter from your university
really,
to
IELTS
demonstrate that you're
not compulsory.
Yeah, not
IELTS is not compulsory.
It depends. In some schools,
it depends.
Yes.
Okay, Mama, I'm gonna come to you now, and I mean, I've known you for a while now, and one of the things that attracted me to you, or that even attracted me to you in the first instance, was, you know, the way you always pass your message. You stand for the truth and you say it the way it is. Okay, what exactly makes Australia stand above other countries? There's this mad race. Everybody wants to go to Canada. It is Canada, and they're not looking at the resources down there in a place like Australia. Tell us why would someone choose Australia over Canada, for instance?
Waka doctor, before I say anything, you know me. Someone actually came to Australia, and this person is saying that he didn't get any information from any Nigerian in Australia about Australia. They got it from other people. I'm like, what, me? I'm always out there. I'm always talking about Australia. But now people are knowing Australia. You know me, I always preach this. Okay. Talk about Australia. First of all, you are running away from your family, from your village people. But that's not it. That's not it. But that's big too. That's big. All right. So talk about opportunity. Let me give you an example. One guy is a Nigerian trained in the UK, a nurse, was working, just came to do locum. Okay. This guy say, man, Jane, this Australia is on tap ground. Jay. So he was immediately he came within few weeks. He's already planning to relocate. Okay. So we'll say we don't have enough of Africans here, maybe because of the snake thing they see in the dream, okay? Or because Australia migration, you must be qualified. I say to them, there is no pathway to Australia migration. If any agent promise you any visa, run as much as you can. You must be qualified. You must go through the process. So that's what is kind of scaring people away, because some people are used to agents, just like Aaron said.
Bring money. I will give you visa.
Yes. Dr. Waka, I'm telling you that they are still duping them. There is this guy in Ibadan or whatever that is taking 3.5 million from these people. Every 3 months, he will gather people like 20-something people and will dupe them. He will disappear for 3 months.
Yeah.
Yes. And he will disappear. I have fake visas in my DM. I have a lot of fake visas that giving me to go and verify. Once I look at it, I laugh. How much did you pay? And the big part is that some of them are family members with 3, 4, 5 people in a family. Do you understand? They sell their houses to pay for this. Where Jane Kennis is screaming, Waka doctor, you know me, I scream every time I said, do not pay anybody for Australia visa, do not. But they will still go and pay, because what God cannot do does not exist.
You know, the funny thing is, if you ask people now and say, pay me $10, let me sit down with you and talk about Australia, they won't. But if I say pay me $1 million, I will give you visa, they will rush. I never understand why.
Thank you. I do consultation. Some people that come for consultation, after everything, they'll be so grateful that everything is very clear for them. But some of them will start attempting waka waka doctor. But the thing is that we are changing mindset. Okay. Some of them are now attempting skill assessment and they come back and testify. They said after the consultation, some of them, you don't even need to come for consultation because my video, the way I do my video is I will go to that website, click it and show you what you do one by one. Just like Aaron is saying, I just released a video 3 days ago, how to assess visa agents for student visas, like agents, because in Australia now you can never get admission without an agent for all the schools. So what I do that I did,
but they are licensed agents, not just roadside agents.
Yes. So I take them to this. I give example. I open some school website. I open University of Sydney. I open University of Melbourne. I show them how to go to international student page, how to put your country in and get agents. I did the example with about 3 or 4 universities. Tell me, after assessing this, someone will say, how do I get an agent? They will go and pay someone again and the person will dupe them. I released another video today on how to assess Mara agent for work visa, PR visa, visa 491, visa 190, every visa, even visitors visa, they are Mara agents. Australia immigration agents are being regulated by Omara. I took them to the website. I put names, countries, and the list were coming. Okay. There was none for Nigeria because they do not have office in Nigeria. You know why? However, you can use the one from Ghana. You can use the one from Australia. You just need to make a contact. I mentioned it in my video. And now people are saying to me, there is no one in Australia, Nigeria. I said, no. Did you listen to my video? Like, actually, did you listen to that video? Because when I click Nigeria and I search, I said, there is no office located in Nigeria. I mean, all of you know that. Why? But there is one in Ghana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, India, a lot. Okay? So choose anyone. You can choose the one in Australia as long as you behave like a normal person. Another thing why Australia-based agents don't want to work with people back home sometimes is that I've made a contact with some of them is that they say that people back home believe that they give visa. You see that mentality we have? Okay, so they believe, I've had conversation with a lot of them because people keep telling me, can you give us some agent? I've tried. They say the reason is that when they work with you and your visa is denied, you go and tarnish their image thinking that it's them that didn't do their job very well. Okay, but they don't give visa. They work with you, they submit everything. Everything is still in the hand of the visa officer to stamp. Okay.
Mama, let me cut you short a bit because I know I can talk to you. I can talk with you about Australia for 24 hours. You'll be spitting. You will just be spitting stuff about Australia, and I'm gonna come back to you because
I saw somebody I have consultation with now. It's online.
We're going to talk about work visas and the likes when it comes to Australia, guys. If you want to know their handles, I've pinned it at the bottom of the screen. Their handles are at the bottom of the screen. Aaron's handle is Aaron_Aku_Philip, and Jane Kenix is at Jane Kenix. I've just pinned it at the bottom of the screen. So if you want to follow them. Those are their handles at the bottom of the screen, guys. Let's concentrate. Aaron, I'm going to come back to you. One of the good things about Australia is, and I've known this for quite a while now, that there are some schools that, you don't even need to have a formal degree to go to. If you can go there and learn skills, vocational studies. You can go there and learn skills. Very few countries afford people this opportunity where they say you don't need to have bachelors in medicine or bachelors in informatics or something. You want to learn a skill, you don't have a degree, you can come and learn this skill. And you and I know that there's one of those schools where I think they banned Nigerians too. There's one of those schools. But I mean, I have a global audience. Okay, you can see a comment from someone who says they are from Guyana. So I've got a global audience. So this is not just about Nigerians. Talk to us about these vocational schools that exist for people who don't have degrees and want to come to Australia?
I think there are lots of them that I've checked, but the one I feel confident to talk about is TAFE, right? So it's TAFE. So TAFE, just Google TAFE. That's the very popular and the big one. You can do lots of courses. There are certificate courses, diploma courses. Sometimes, I've got people who start there. For instance, they started off their nursing there. For instance, when you do there, you finish maybe a certificate in nursing or diploma in nursing, you graduate as an enrolled nurse, and you can go on to study, other courses if you choose. So that's the one. If you, I'm encouraging. I mean, there are universities who also do vocational courses. I know my university and some other Nigerian. Which other university did I check in Queensland that do that? But a simple way to do that, of course, vocational courses in Australia, it'll pop up lots of options for you. Once you check the options, I encourage you to think of TAFE more, because that's kind of like the very big one, and they do kind of like the Australian one that they do lots of courses here. So if you're thinking of some certificate course, maybe the what do you call it? The bachelor's degree is really expensive for you to come study, or a master's is really expensive for you to come study. Think of TAFE, so TAFE, so TAFE Australia, or they're in different parts of TAFE Queensland, TAFE, TAFE Sydney.
Okay, so TAFE is not just one.
No,
there are many.
No, so polytechnic. It's a polytechnic.
Yes, yes. So it's more of like a polytechnic but they're all over Australia. So for instance, in Queensland alone, they are spread across the. For instance, TAFE in Ipswich area, there's TAFE in another area, there's TAFE in the Cleveland area. So different suburbs, they've got those institutes there. So you've got so they are spread across because they want people to have access to those very close. So it's all over Australia, as in anywhere you can think of in Australia, you've got TAFE. So think of TAFE. Yeah. Go ahead. Just give me the but. Yeah.
But Aaron, there's something you don't know about TAFE now. Okay. People from third world country like India, Bangladesh, Australia, and all those countries now. I know when you came in, people were coming with TAFE. It has changed. Okay. So they don't give you visa anymore, because I tell people getting admission is not the problem here. You can get international admission, but the ultimate goal is to get visa. Okay. So if you get TAFE admission now, visa officer will not give you visa. They will give you one flimsy excuse. Okay, it's not only Nigeria. Indians are having the same issue. Bangladesh, a lot of people from underdeveloped country or developing country. Okay. However, the agent, there is what they do. Okay. Just like you said, universities now, instead of going to a normal TAFE, like a polytechnic, so each university is now, because they know some people, even Australian, when they graduate from high school, some of them don't go to university straight. They have to do some courses, or maybe they will do TAFE and they will go into the labor market. So universities now are having TAFE attached to the university. Just like you said, if you want to do like international student agents, what they do now is that they will get you, for example, you want to do a BSc economics, or for example, so they get you through TAFE and attach it to your BSc. So it's like a qualifying course to go and do your BSc. So they are together one package. So the visa officer is not seeing only the TAFE.
Yes. So I had a friend who came in. I had a friend who came in through that. But again, there is that strong emphasis on, because Australia does not allow like a step down. So if you have a BSc, they won't allow you to come and do, they won't allow you to come and do it. I mean, it has to be a degree up, higher than that. And that's where
that's why I started by saying, for people who don't have formal education, who don't have the so-called, bachelors, but still want to explore Australia. So TAFE can be an opportunity for them.
Yeah. So for instance, I know lots of people. So people who don't have those degrees, TAFE is that I recommend TAFE. But there are lots of courses. I know there are a lot of people who have degrees and getting some BSc, because some universities now also, deny people admission for different reasons, different immigration reasons, and all of that. So all that is in the picture. But it's important that, for instance, you might have, say, for instance, you already have a BSc and you want to come study here, and people say, oh, you had TAFE. Please don't be quickly jumping to say, oh, let me go do TAFE, because that might put a red flag on you. There are lots of courses you can even do from, at master's level that can get you to that level. For instance, we've got the master's, whatever field you are in, there are universities that can give you masters in nursing, and when you finish, you get accredited to be a nurse in Australia, So if you're in that category where you kind of have those degrees already and you feel, oh, this university has not given me admission, there are other options for you to consider. Because if you're thinking of the skilled list, for instance, then you are thinking of those kind of courses such as the nursing, the social works, and the like. So, but then if you don't have the formal education, sorry?
Oh, she does a lot of videos. Okay, she does a lot of videos. I'm going to come to that. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, Aaron, for talking to us about vocational schools and specifically TAFE. Mama, I'm going to come back to you, Aaron. Mama, my question is next for you. On your YouTube channel, you talk a lot. I think the first YouTube video I saw about you was a debate about healthcare, healthcare jobs, and people saying they are selling healthcare visa in Australia or something like that. That was you were really physically vibrating and saying, don't let people steal your money, blah blah blah. And this is how to do it. Can you talk to us? You're especially, I mean, based on your experience and your research, about several visa types. Me, I don't even know them, but when I hear them, they're very
I know you teased me the other day and said it's a 400.
491 for this. People want to come and they're looking for job opportunities. They're looking for work visas. They're looking for how to move because they've got skills. I don't want them to fall prey, to scammers. Australia has some of these opportunities. I have seen someone who got a job as a chef in Australia, sponsored visa, got a job as a chef, moved with his family from Nigeria, and I know that it is possible. But it's important for people to know what goes, what doesn't. Some people say they've taken positive something test, positive assessment, and they don't know what else to do. They've been waiting for months. Talk us about some of these things. Talk
Waka doctor, they know what to do. They know. Now, Australia has so many work visa, but because we use a code. That's why I always say, when you find this agent, say, which visa are you giving me? Tell me the code. Let me go and Google it. Okay, it has a name. Every visa has a name. Okay, so the common visa.
You're getting an international call.
Yes. Can you continue with Aaron? I'm coming, please.
Okay. All right. Would allow you. We're waiting for you. Very important.
I might just pick on some of the visas she's mentioned. I see some people say they've got positive skill assessment and all of that.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're thinking of applying for permanent residency, you've got the visas are categorized as subclasses, right? So you've got the subclass, for instance, 190. That's a direct PR, positive PR. Which is better. I'll allow her go on here.
Okay. So the common visa that just came out that the agent is using to scam people is visa 482. So it is a work visa in the sense that you must get the number one criteria is that you must find a job. Okay. So if you cannot find a job, visa 482 is not for you. Okay. But there was this aged care thing that came up this year. You saw us making videos about the aged care, healthcare assistant visa. Okay. So in May this year, Australian government announced that there is there is scarcity of aged care workers here. That's why they're using students to bridge the gap and stuff. Okay. So they said employers will start employing overseas trained healthcare assistants. Okay. However, there is a process. They have to do skill assessment. After skill assessment is not a guarantee. Waka doctor, why I say they know is that if they're following me, I've made a video, I said it is not a guarantee. if you want to do your